This video will demonstrate how to use our intervention scheduling program for this year. I've logged in as Mrs. Clayton, and I'm going to click on your UHS teacher community page that hopefully you're all enrolled in. If you're not, please see Mrs. Bunce for that. And on this nice page, you're going to come here to this button right here, Intervention Selection, Draft Students for Help. That's going to load up a intervention page, and you're going to have a whole bunch of classes to choose from for students to intervene, all of your classes. There's also some buttons for 12th grade. If I click on 12th grade, it's going to load up the entire 12th grade class. I'll just go into College AP Bio for right now. You'll notice that there's some here little check marks already that are faded out and you can't get. That's because I went ahead and already intervened for these students. She would not be able to select these students because I already got them. If she really needs those students, she can email me and I can maybe unselect them, and then she can go ahead and do that. To intervene with a student, you're going to just come here and you're either going to click on this button right here that will select both of them, or you can just select on a particular day. So I've already intervened for Jerry on Thursday, but she can still do that on a Wednesday. So maybe we'll go ahead and select some other ones here. And then you can't go ahead and click another class to get more students. You have to intervene before you leave this class. So if I click intervene, you'll notice that it's going to put my students down here for my interventions. This little new tab opens up. So here's all the students she's intervening with on Wednesday and the one she's intervening with on Thursday. Then you could go to another class. Maybe I'll go to physical science, and I'll intervene with several people here as well. And I click intervene, and it's going to go ahead and add them to my list of the people that I'm going to intervene with on Wednesday and Thursday of this week. Down here you have some report section. This report here says group above. So whatever course you're on, physical science, if you want to see all of the interventions in your physical science classes, including yours and somebody else's, you can click group above, and then you'll have a list of everybody that's intervened in that particular class. If you click my connections, it's going to select your connections and how many people have been intervened in your connections group. So that's going to be important when you're taking attendance for connections that day, to see who in your connections group is not there because they've been intervened by somebody. Teacher will be emailing you if they're not present. If I click on my interventions, that'll give you a report of all the interventions you have for this week that you've made. If you click all UHS, this is going to be all the interventions in the high school completely. So you'll see I'm in there and Michelle Clayton's in there right now. If you click on history, that's going to show you a history of all the past weeks, but we don't have any right now, so that's will be kind of broken for the first week. So the last thing here, by the way, is where you can always see the lunches in the rooms. There's a list that you can always get anytime throughout the year. So when you've completed all your interventions, down here at the bottom in this panel under My Interventions, you're going to have a couple buttons here. This one here says Notify Wednesday Roster. So if I click on that button, it's going to generate an email. It says Intervention Appointment 9:30 a.m. Wednesday, September 14th, Michelle's room number 123. And it's going to email yourself, but it's also going to blind carbon copy everybody that's going to get this intervention. So it says, I have drafted you for the following intervention, 9:30 a.m. on Wednesday, September 14th in room 123. Looking forward to working with you. And you can click on the Thursday and notify everybody on the Thursday. This button over here is to notify any students that are on both days. They'd have to be on both days. What if someone doesn't show up for your intervention? Their connections teacher is going to need to know that, because it's the connections teacher's responsibility to be able to take attendance for their connections students. If they did not show up for your intervention, you need to notify that connections teacher. The way to do that is to come in here, and if Jerry didn't show up, I'm going to click his name, and that's going to generate an email to Jerry's connections teacher, which happens to be Nick Alquist, I hope. And it's going to say intervention absence, and it's going to say he didn't show up for the intervention. Please count them absent for the connections attendance, and you click send. So that's kind of how we're handling the attendance. The connections teacher is in charge of attendance for their connections. If they don't receive an email from you, they're going to assume that that student wasn't there because they were at their intervention. If they are not at their intervention, you need to come in here, click their name, and generate an email to the connections teacher telling them to count them absent. Okay, what does this look like on UHub? If I am on UHub, you'll notice that right now this is Thursday, and I said I was going to intervene on Thursday. So in his schedule right here, it'll actually say intervention from 9:30 to 10 o'clock that he's supposed to go to my room, not his connections room. If he clicks on this week's intervention, you're going to see he has one with Michelle Clayton on Wednesday and one with me on Thursday. So that's what it's going to look like on their UHub. It'll actually be built right into their schedule so they know where they're supposed to be going. All right, what does this look like on Mrs. Clayton's UHub? See her schedule, and then over here it's Thursday right now, and if you click on My Interventions, then you're going to see here's all her interventions on Wednesday, and here's all her interventions on Thursday. So each week there'll be a list of your interventions there on UHub for you to be able to look at as well. Okay, that's how the intervention program is going to work this year. I hope that will be helpful to everyone.